Well, good morning. It's Wednesday, August 18th, and we have gathered for our morning devotion. Again, we're using Brian McLaren, Seeking Aliveness. And today's is called Changing Your Theory. The dominant theory of God in Abraham and Sarah's day taught that the gracious God who gives human life would also demand human life as sacrifice. So when Abraham believed God was commanding him to kill Isaac, he became faithful to a traditional model of how God and life worked. We might wish that Abraham had argued over this theory, just as he did when he believed God was about to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. But strangely, what Abraham did for two cities, he refrained to do for his own son. So one day, Abraham led Isaac up a mountain. He brought stones into the altar, tied up his son, and placed him on a stone. He raised the knife, and once again it seemed too late. But at the last possible instant, Abraham saw a ram nearby, its horn stuck in a thicket. Suddenly he realized that God had provided a ram to sacrifice in place of Isaac, his son. What a powerful new insight. Animal blood could please or appease their God as a substitute for human blood. It was commonplace in the ancient world for a man to lead his son up a mountain to be sacrificed to his deity. It was extraordinary for a man to come down the mountain with his son still alive. Though through that ancient story, Abraham's descendants explained why they had changed their theory or model of God and why they dared to be different from their neighbors who still practiced human sacrifice. It wasn't too late to challenge a widely held assumption and change their theory on God. And so changing your theory is just the idea of changing your ideas of who God is and how and what God does in this world. And he uses the example of Abraham sacrificing Isaac and how he changed from the human sacrifice to the animal sacrifice. He didn't really question it, but he saw it. And after that, it became the animal sacrificial system. And so he's asking us to change our theories about God. We think God can only act in this way and that way, and God can only do this and God can only do that. But maybe, just maybe, God's doing something different, and we don't necessarily see it as a God thing, but maybe God is doing something new. So we changed our theory, we changed our understanding of who God is in this world for the better. I think God can change. I think God has changed over time, and I think we as humans need to understand that what we see in God may not be the only parts of God that are out there. For God's thoughts and ideas for us, and our thoughts and ideas of God change over time. So don't be afraid to change your theory of who God is. Amen.